What is going on, my beautiful people? In today's video, I am very excited to bring you Season of the Sticks, Episode 3, When Arrows Fly. And yes, by the title, I'm sure you can tell, I was able to harvest my first ever deer with a bow. And not only was it my first ever deer with a bow, it was a buck. It wasn't the biggest buck ever, but it was a good buck nonetheless. It was pretty young. I probably should have let it walk, but for a first ever kill with a bow, I am going to take it. I'm very pleased with it, and it sure did taste good. Now, not only was this deer my first ever bow kill, but it just was very memorable to me because my dad wasn't on the property, so it was the first ever deer I kind of killed by myself, cleaned, gutted, processed, all of that by myself. It was my first ever saddle kill, first ever bow kill, and it just so happened to be in the first place that I ever shot a deer with a gun as well. And I actually went and I found the photo for y'all. Look at me back in the day doing what I used to love to do and still love to do, which was killing deer and harvesting deer. This is from that same hilltop. First ever deer I ever shot. Lovely little, 11 pointer there. And it was a grand old time. Let me set that photo down for now. But yes, I was able to harvest my first ever buck with a gun. My first ever deer with a gun was a buck, and my first ever bow kill was a buck as well. With all that being said, I wanted to talk a little bit about the setup because I failed to film this being in a rush, and this is where I do apologize. As a content creator, I need to be better about filming the full story, and so I kind of failed to do this. Well, with this, we had found a scrape on this road. It was peak rut, and we found a scrape on this road. So I wanted to go and put a camera on this scrape. I put a camera on it, checked the camera, and we ended up getting lots of pictures of big bucks within a week's time frame of when I had put that camera up. So I checked that camera and immediately was like, okay, I need to go put a stand up right now. I need to go pull my saddle from the railroad tracks, which is where it was at, that previous spot that we've spent all of these episodes talking about. I pull my saddle from that location and I go and I set it up on a tree that I think is going to be perfect for this stand. The evening before was the last hunt that you watched. So I had already set up my stand with high intentions of the next morning going and sitting on top of this hill in hopes of killing a buck. And I was hoping for a bigger buck, but that's not what the Lord blessed me with, so I took full advantage of the opportunity He gave me, and we were able to harvest a buck. So let's get into that footage. What is going on, my beautiful people? It is about 8 o'clock on November the 8th, my wife and I's anniversary, and we took a rutcation. So it's quite the eventful weekend for me, or week I should say. Got time off of work, and she wanted to come down here because there's no cell service, no nothing, nobody can bug us. So awesome wife, thank you so much. Also, God has been showing out this week. I've hunted several different times. Finally got this set up last night to come in here with my bow this morning. A lot of rut activity going on, lots of big bucks daylighting on this road that I'm hunting. Put a little golden acorn out in front of us, so hopefully we'll bring in some does, which will bring in some bucks. We set a truck hammer up about 2 weeks ago in a tree that's 5 yards from where I'm sitting. And I'll show you guys some of the pictures we've been getting on it. Now, like I said, God's been showing off. About 2 mornings ago, or 2 afternoons ago, I saw probably 20 deer, all does, and 1 4-pointer. With a rainbow over top of them. I just knew my pot of gold buck was going to be coming out. And then last night, I actually talked my wife into going hunting with me. And we saw probably 10 does, and we saw 1 real nice 2-year-old 8-pointer. Decided to let him walk. I had 30-06 with me, so he wasn't one I wanted to take with a gun. I'll take him with a bow for sure, though. I haven't killed a buck with a bow. But I wanted to give you guys a quick little interview. We're sitting all day today. I mean, I'm gonna be here for a while. I got my saddle, got my recliner in. Everything's good and set up. I'm pretty sure I heard one grunting behind me this morning. I gave it about 15-20 minutes to get a little more daylight, and I grunted back. Didn't get a response. At this point yesterday, I saw 3 does come over the top of this hill into a food plot that I can kind of see from here. But now that the sun's coming up, the wind's picking up. I'm hoping I don't mess with them too much. Tends to be gust, but my wind's still blowing pretty good from where I'm set up. It's blowing that way, so lots of scrapes on this road. Hopefully one will come check them. I'm up here letting this deer expire, and I'm trying not to get too emotional because I know I put a lot of time in this year. I mean, this is the longest I think I've ever sat in a deer stand, and I'm going on 6-7 hours. And he's the first deer I saw, and then I saw one running back down that way, which was probably a bigger buck, but I really don't care. What's crazy is just how God has been with us on this hunt this whole week. And what's crazy, I killed my first ever deer with a gun right here. And that day I had shot and missed with it was a 223. I shot a deer that probably looked about like this one, and I missed him. And there was another deer that come in, and I couldn't find it in my scope. I was probably 7-8 years old. And the spike ended up coming out, and I shot the spike, and the spike run right over there and died on the road. And it's kind of crazy to come back full circle. Here I am, about to be 27 in March, and smoked one with my bow. First ever deer I've killed. I'm down here by myself. I'm with my wife, but my dad's usually down here with me. Down here by myself. Yeah, in a setup that's not something my dad would ever use. I mean, I'm in a saddle, hunting with a bow, with a 600-700 grain arrow, fixed blade, just something completely different than what my dad would have taught me to hunt with. I mean, the proof was right there. I dropped that deer. I mean, I want to see where the entry wound is. The exit wound is right back shoulder. But it's crazy to think that I killed my first gun buck and my first bow buck in the same exact spot. Alright, guys. I just climbed down, like, haven't even picked my bow up, just got on my ropes. We gotta track this deer, right? We're wrong, he's right there. Let's find my arrow, first off. He should be dead. I think he's dead. There's my arrow. Already covered in ants. My number 1 arrow. Here's my broadhead. And it broke off. I hit bone. Look at the ding in that sucker. And chiseled it up. Good thing we're shooting a fixed blade. And there he is. I saw him first off at that little corn pile right there. But there he is. Just make sure. Freaking smoked him, dude.